Good evening, everybody. Welcome into our update here for the overnight hours. We continue to track a changing pattern. After that brutal cold over the weekend, we're getting some adjustments here over the next few days and obviously much more tolerable weather sliding into the St. Louis area. It was great to see sunshine on Sunday. What wasn't great were those temperatures in the single digits with sub-zero wind chills. And then today we have more sunshine, but a whole different ball game. After a morning low of 12 degrees, we warmed to 45 this afternoon. 45 for our top temperature is the average high. The average low, though, 29. So we're still well below average when you mix everything up there. By the way, the sunset 4:41. That sunset time again for Tuesday is 4:41, but it's now later than our earliest sunset. Now, the sunrise times are still kind of inching a little bit down, so we're still not gaining any official daylight, but the end of the day getting a little bit brighter. So what's new? What's coming up here? Milder for most of the week. We have some morning showers on Thursday, maybe even a rumble of thunder with the system coming through. But what we don't see is bitter cold. It just doesn't look like that opportunity is going to present itself again for us. Tonight we have a few clouds, more of them down to the south of St. Louis. They will slip out before daybreak, just a patch of low-level clouds sliding across out of the Ozarks, and so that'll slide by tonight. While it's overhead, it keeps your temperatures from dropping, but after it passes, we should slide back into the middle 20s. And then for tomorrow morning, we'll start in the upper 20s, but this is what you'll wake up to. A bright sky, lots of sunshines on the way for tomorrow, as well as Wednesday, and we're above average temperature-wise. 50 or so for the high on Tuesday, 53 on Wednesday. We're in the mid-50s Thursday. That's our next day potential for active weather when we have a front coming in from the north and west. That's going to give us a shot, a pretty decent shot at seeing some showers across the region. And you notice we really drop the temperature off here as we go into Friday, but that doesn't last very long, and it's not as cold as we just went through, right? Those are the low clouds sliding across southern Missouri right now into southwestern Illinois. This is the weather system out in the Pacific Northwest that's going to be pushing our way. Now, while we wait on that weather system to come our way, the Arctic high down to our southeast is turning the winds more to the south. That's allowing the warmer air to come back. It's also going to bring some moisture back to the north. Something we really haven't had feeding into any weather systems lately is some Gulf moisture. Now, it's going to be somewhat limited, and the ingredients for severe weather are not lining up for us. This will be a snowstorm along the U.S.-Canadian border. In fact, maybe even a wintry mix in northern portions of Minnesota. For us, we expect by early on Thursday morning, there's at least a chance for some scattered showers as that moisture builds, but the main line of showers along this front will be out to our west. That advances, becomes more of a solid line as we head towards the end or right after the morning rush hour. And you've got a pretty good line here rolling through St. Louis here, heading towards and right before lunchtime. So maybe not a great idea to have lunch outside on Thursday with that line coming through. We'll fine-tune it. The stronger storms more likely would be found from southeast Missouri going farther south along the Mississippi River. But wrapping around behind this, it gets very breezy. The colder air comes in, and yes, probably a change over to some snow farther north. Not so much for us. By the time it gets cold enough to snow here, the moisture's gone. That's traditionally how it works. But it will be breezy as we work our way into the nighttime hours on Thursday. That wind will subside some by Friday morning. So rainfall amounts, that's just a guesstimate here. Some of us might get a quarter to a half an inch. We would bet the better chances for some heavier rain would be off to the southeast of St. Louis at this point versus being in the metro area. But if we get under one of those heavier showers, certainly it's not out of the case that that could be one of the options. We get some heavier rain in here. So we will see. It all depends. We could certainly use some decent rainfall, and especially if we could get it to stretch out over a few hours and not all come in a 30 or 40 minute swath with a line of showers and storms. And that's entirely possible. Really, I think our window is about 3 to 4 hours for rain, and that should be about it. But we're dry still, and many of our areas here as you go over towards Litchfield, down into eastern St. Clair County, eastern portions of Madison County, most of Madison County actually, still in that moderate drought. From Farmington south, same sort of story. Here around St. James and north into southern Gasconade County, it's where the drought's the worst. So we could definitely use the rain. This is not going to be a drought buster, and for the year, we're going to end up below average rainfall-wise. We'll end up above average temperature-wise. Not sure this is going to do it for the month, though, because we're so far below the average line at this point. So you look at these numbers here. We go into Thursday, and we got you at 56 for the high, but that's in the morning. Then the colder air rushes in, 20 for the low by Friday morning, and only 40 for the high on Friday. Now, the good news with that is the cold air doesn't really linger all that much. So we've got bright skies on your way for Tuesday. Should be close to 50 degrees by 1 o'clock, and we'll keep it around that as we head into the afternoon hours. Looking at the lows, the one thing that stands out here again, Friday morning, that's the coldest one, down to 20 degrees for the next 7 days. So there is a pattern change happening right now. Are we going to be done with Arctic air for a while? Well, you got another little intrusion briefly on Friday. It's not as bitter as what we just went through. But you see, as we head into next week, this takes us into Christmas Eve. The truly Arctic air is still up in Canada and into the Northeast. The Northeast gets some of it, but it's certainly not here in the middle part of the country. All indications are for us, as we head into next week, Christmas week, no big storms that we see at this point, although we can't rule out, a rain chance one of these days here next week. But your temperature trends are above average. We may be a little too warm on Monday, but I would bet on siding with the warmer numbers at this point based on what we're seeing. Friday's our one day where it's going to be pretty chilly. Again, putting it in perspective with what we just had, 40 is fine compared to 18 that we had on Sunday, right? So we're in the 50s the next couple of days. Enjoy that. Enjoy the bright skies while they're around. Got some shopping to do. This weekend should be dry. A weather system that comes through on Saturday and slips through gives us a little cooler air for Sunday into Sunday night. But again, those numbers aren't drastic. Those are close to average. Nothing like this Arctic blast that we just dealt with. So you have yourself a great evening, and thanks for watching on 5 Plus.